100% he did this.
I'd go off in the fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Wow. Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late. There's a lot of people in here. I got a new device here. Can everybody hear me? I got this amazing new device, and it was working beautifully last night. There was 114 people in here. Hit the like button. I got this crazy new equalizer, and then it just stopped working right before we started here. Oh man, it was so great. It's so great. We'll see what happens after this. Okay. I'm glad you could hear me because this is a big deal. Nobody has heard from Jen Soto's side yet at all. Everybody's been quiet. We heard the 911 calls. When we heard the 911 calls, we heard, now I know what her name is. Her name is Stephanie, which is the aunt. And if you didn't know, Jen's dad's name is Juan. So we know Juan as grandpa and Stephanie as the aunt. Now, you guys saw my intro, or you saw my thumbnail today, and yes, we got the scoop. Nobody's heard yet any of this stuff, and they reached out to me. I'm very honored that they would trust me. So I'm trying to get this person on to the show. I probably will if you guys make her feel comfortable. You can't be mad at any of the answers. But I have an ex-roommate that lived with Jen Soto when she was friends with Stephan Sterns, and then when she started dating him. So she reached out to me. You guys hit that like button. I'm saying hi to everybody right now that's coming in. KJ and Susie and Alyssa and Christina and hide and seek. Now, I want you to know this is not the members only. I'm still going to come back on here at 6 o'clock and do the members only, but I had to not do this on the members only because we have Jen's ex roommate, and this is the first time she's not comfortable with talking to anyone else. She's not comfortable with talking to any of the other channels. She's afraid. She's afraid of feedback that she's going to get. So the first thing I want to start off with the episode is I want to say how many people failed Maddie. All right. You guys can answer that in the questions, or just think about how many people failed Maddie. Why didn't the grandma stop it? Why didn't the grandpa stop it? Why didn't any of the family jump in? Why didn't Jen jump in, folks? So I have answers for you today. No excuses, just answers. And we're going to start off with these answers, and then we're going to dig deeper. Now, I just talked to this person on the phone right before I got on here, and it's a she. So first of all, I want you to know some of the things I didn't know. Well, Jen, besides being really drugged out, I'll tell you this right now. Jen was at a mental hospital. She did check herself into a mental hospital. It's about an hour and a half away. I can't remember the name of it. If you're from Florida, it's something Peak. I'll get the name of it, but it's about an hour and a half from where she lives. She was, in fact, at a mental hospital, and it wasn't because she was hiding from the cops or lawyering up, although she did lawyer up. Someone says, why didn't the whole family jump in? I'm sure they knew. Well, listen to this. I've got questions for this person, and they've got answers for me. So grandpa, from her perspective, was very loving. Maddie used to sleep in the bedroom with grandpa because she felt safe when Stephan Sterns was there. Okay. So imagine this. Let's picture this. We have Jennifer Soto living in the condo with the grandpa in one room, Maddie in the other room, and Stephan Sterns hadn't moved in yet. Stephan Sterns started to court, so to speak, Jennifer Soto. Now, I don't know if he knew that she had a kid, but they worked together both at Disney, and that's how they met. They were friends. Yes, poor Maddie. Okay, so no excuses. I'm going to talk about what the roommate knew. Why didn't anyone jump in? Now, the roommate tells me, and she agrees, everybody let Maddie down. The roommate didn't let Maddie down, and I'm not going to say that because she didn't know what was going on, but here's what she does know. Okay. So I asked her a list of questions. She sent me an email saying, your channel's amazing. I don't want to throw my name down. I don't want people getting mad at me. Maddie was a sweet, sweet girl. May she rest in peace. Now, this person is doing therapy right now and counseling because she has some sort of guilt feeling to this. She was there when Stephan Sterns was there. She was there when Stephan Sterns had 3 drawers. Now, Stephan Sterns stayed in Jennifer Soto's room. He had 3 drawers and he kind of moved his way in. He didn't let Jen go to his house. He lived with his parents, but his room was filthy, okay? It was not even habitable, filthy. So, yes, mad respect to the roommate, and I hope nobody gets upset at what she says. Okay, Park Place Behavioral Center. Jennifer Soto has been in and out of mental health facilities most of her adult life. Okay, let me read these questions and then I will answer questions. Thank you to everybody so much for being here. Yeah, filthy like his heart and soul. He was a nasty pig, and Jennifer Soto went to his house and she actually cleaned his room for him because she wasn't allowed over there. So she met his parents. Obviously, it was a long time coming. Now, the roommate is still living with this guilt that she wasn't able to help Maddie, but she doesn't understand why nobody helped Maddie. And let me tell you the questions and then I will read you the answers. Okay. So I got a message last night and Jenny says, putting Maddie's tragic life aside, why didn't Jennifer Soto's family step in? As Jennifer Soto had mental health conditions, why didn't they call Maddie's father? Now, Jen, I asked her that today. Jenny, I asked her why they didn't call the dad. And you know what she said? She said that Jennifer Soto didn't even talk about the father. As a matter of fact, when she was there, the time frame she was there, and I'm going to answer that right now, was in 2018. She only visited her dad once when she was there in that entire year. I asked her the same question. Why didn't they call the dad? She barely even spoke about the dad. If the roommate knew, how did Jen not know? Okay, I didn't say the roommate knew. Here's the roommate knows now. The roommate moved out and then she got breaking news, folks, that Maddie was missing. Her heart sank. She reached out to Jen. She's talked to Jen a couple of times through Instagram since this happened. Jen was in a mental institution, but that's because she had recently and previously checked herself into a health facility because she has mental problems and she's drugged to the max. All right, let me read these questions. Number 1, I'm asking for you guys. We really need to know the dates that Jen started dating Stephan Sterns. This is my number 1 question for you guys, okay? And the answer is she started dating him in the beginning of 2018. We're in 2024, folks. That's 6 years. Okay, that's 6 full years that Stephan Sterns had access to Maddie. So this 2-year timeline is completely false. It's 6 years. It was in the beginning of 2018. She lived there from 2018 to 2019. She says, I met her around October of 2018. I'm not sure where, but I feel confident that Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns worked together. Okay, now listen to this. I didn't know this. Both of them had weight problems. You've seen Stephan Sterns fluctuate, correct? I've seen him fluctuate, and I've seen Jen Soto fluctuate in her old pictures. They were both heavily overweight and they both had gastric sleeves put in. So they bonded over the gastric sleeves. The roommate recalls her saying they were friends prior to dating. Now, I do imagine that Jen started taking care of him and bonding with him over the weight loss. They were heavily overweight. They got the gastric sleeve and then boom, they start dating. Okay. Did Jen tell the roommate she went to the mental? No, Carrie, the roommate drove her several times to the mental institution. She didn't tell her anything. She took her there. She knows for sure. She went there and she drove her there. It was an hour and a half from her apartment. All of this stuff is verified. There's none of this is I think or whatever. I wouldn't put this out there, okay? All right, number 2. I ask for you guys, how long has it really been that Stephan Sterns has been in Maddie's life? That's a question of the year. I think you'd be able to clear it up, so we'd absolutely know. You just give me a time frame when you know that he moved in. That would be great. Okay. So yeah, everybody's that's saying stuff. I'm verifying it. None of this is hearsay. It's hearsay from me because the roommate's afraid to talk to anyone. She's still having nightmares about what happened and that she wasn't able to help. Yes, lots of addictions, lots of drugs, lots and lots of drugs and lots of drugs and more drugs. Okay. Jennifer Soto was drugged up. So the roommate moved in the beginning, like I said, of 2018. She says, I know they were dating prior to that, but Stephan Sterns was not living at the house, but he would stay there often. He wouldn't allow her to go to his house, his parents' house, because his room was unsanitary. She had to go clean it. And that happened when she lived there. She was there. She listened to Jen Soto say she was going to Stephan Sterns' house to go clean it because it was unsanitary. Okay. Now, Maddie, yes, you're right. Maddie did go October 2023. That's the last time she saw her dad. We're going way back, folks. We're in 2018. One time out of between 2018 and 2019, Maddie visited her dad. This roommate met her dad, but only once. He wasn't even mentioned around the house. It was just Stephan Sterns. Stephan Sterns was there. He pushed his way into the house. He moved his way into 3 drawers and he stayed there. You guys are going to get mad in a little bit here. Just get ready to be mad, but don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. Yeah, 2018, 2019, folks. Joyce is correct. Number 3 question. Another question I have for you is, did you personally interact with Stephan and what'd you think of him? Okay. All right. Yeah. Red flags from the beginning. I agree. I did interact with Stephan Sterns personally. He was very strange. He painted figurines and was kind of quiet. We didn't interact much, but we didn't have too much in common. I would hang out with Jen if he wasn't there normally. Their door was closed a lot with all 3 of them hanging out in the room. All the rooms were upstairs. There was Jen's dad, Juan, and Maddie, and the roommate was there. The roommate would always leave her door open because she was trying to watch out for Maddie. Some gut feeling of hers must have kicked in. She didn't like having a man in the house with a little girl. She didn't know at the time why, but she knows that she left her door open. Now, I'm still answering this question that I gave. Occasionally, I would hang out with all 3 of them, but they were in the room a lot. Stephan Sterns pinged on all the kids' hobbies, folks. All these little figurines and video games. They were both big homebodies, Jen and him. Jen was a lot on the mental health meds and was filing for disability at the time. Her father, Juan, was pretty much supporting her, hence why he bought her a condo. Also, she got it after I moved out. So after this roommate moved out, Jen got disability. Yes, she was still working at Disney enough just to not trigger the disability. Okay. So roommate says I hung out with Maddie, and when I was home, my door was always open to some degree. Per the records, it seems as though the SA was very shortly after I moved out. I moved out towards the end of 2019. And that's when the pictures started coming in June and July. Pictures and videos, okay? I thought this... oh my God, I thought I lost this channel forever. I'm so glad you won. Oh, yeah. All right, so I'm making sure I let you guys know what's going on. I made sure I vetted it. I talked to this lady. By the way, Jen Soto is bisexual, if that means anything to you. She is confirmed to have dated women, dated men. She's bisexual. She's openly bisexual. If you see any of her pages or anything, she might have that on there. I don't know if that means anything to you, but she is. All right. Now, that was my number 3 question. I have 10 questions here. Number 4, did you ever notice what that he was interacting with Maddie quite a bit. For instance, he was giving her a lot of attention, maybe in the beginning, to earn her affection. The roommate says he was always doing something that had to do with things that wouldn't appear to me as adult activities, besides smoking, his vape, or cigarettes. Jen had her medical marijuana card. It was always video games for him, painting figurines, or watching TV. She says, I didn't ever go out with the three of them, ever. She was a pastry chef in Disney Springs. So when I wasn't at work, I was at home, mostly unless visiting family or friends. Okay? So you guys, this is the first time I've got 657 people in chat. Please hit that like button, guys. I can't get people reaching out to me if I'm not in the algorithm. Okay? So please, I want to do more of this. I want to bring the roommate on. I might just like black her out or use her voice. Okay, number 5. What did you think of him after you got to know him more? Honestly, she says, I didn't get to know him. He was not someone I would ever hang out with. I was cordial, but did not spend a lot of time with him. Listen to this. She says the air felt lighter when he wasn't there. If he wasn't there, or he was either wasn't there, or was gone, or was just away, the air was just a lighter. Thank you for loving my hair. Smash that like button, guys, if you like my hair or anything I'm talking about. Okay. So the roommate, again, don't shoot the messenger. We have some stuff coming up that you might not agree with, but this is this person's perspective. All right. So was Stephan Sterns, was he affectionate towards Jen Soto? Like ever? Was he ever affectionate towards her, guys? That's what I wanted to know. These are my questions. You guys can always put questions and I'll ask her. You guys email me. Let me put my email down here. And it's out the bag now. It's a she. She's happy to tell me anything I want to know. Okay. She did not see them being affectionate, to be honest, besides calling each other not names. I don't know what that means, but to be honest, besides calling each other not by their names, he really spent most of his time playing video games or doing something that pertained to whatever game or painting figurines. So she didn't see any affection or anything like that. There was just nothing of that sort. Okay. Number 7. Is there anything unusual that you would say about him? Did you ever get a gut feeling that you didn't like him, or didn't come off normal, anything like that? All right, great work. I think he used Jen. Yeah, and I think Jen was heavily drugged for years. No, that is not not an excuse, but either way, it's just the facts, folks. It's just the facts. All right, we haven't even got to that yet. Okay, so she said, he is unusual, and I noticed that right away he's still doing and playing childlike things. It struck me as a bit odd. I know we have our own hobbies, but this guy was extra level. She had a talk with Jen about him, and she told me he was shy and that he was overweight when they met. So he just was in his shell and didn't want to interact with her or be social. So that's why she thought he was odd. She did have a talk. Should check out the grandpa as well. Okay, we haven't even got to the grandpa, guys. All right. So she said, yeah, she talks about the grandpa in here. All right. So she also says here, she really couldn't give me an answer on that. Jen couldn't give her an answer as to why she kept Stephan around. He wasn't bringing anything to the table. She was paying for everything. He didn't have a job and he was just a pig. All right. So she says, I'm a few years older than Jen. And then she says her father, Juan, also lived there while I was living there. And he stayed in the room. So he was in the room downstairs. He's a nice guy, funny, and respectful. Now I'm going to tell you guys, correct you guys. He's Puerto Rican. Jen is Guatemalan and Puerto Rican. So when I said that, it was a correct assumption that Jen is Puerto Rican. Her dad's Puerto Rican, and he went back to Puerto Rico. Okay. So she liked him. She said that he loved his grandchildren. You saw the video of him paying attention to his grandbaby. He was talking about going back to Puerto Rico while I was living there, so I assume he did right after I left. I did not get any bad feelings about her dad, Juan. Maybe subconsciously, I always kept my door open or hung out with Maddie because I don't trust men around kids. You hear that, folks? Yeah, that makes my skin crawl. The air was lighter when he was not there. That made my skin crawl too. Absolutely. All right. So, number 8. Do you know if he moved in fairly quickly after meeting Jen? I'm trying to get a feel for how this guy moved in on her and what. Yeah, Jen's dad was a vet. Yeah, he was. Agreed. There's a whole grooming process, and I said it from the beginning, even though I don't think Jen is innocent of anything. I think that he groomed Maddie and that he also groomed Jen, and he did take advantage of her mental health, anxiety. She had anxiety, ADHD, PTSD, and she was heavily, heavily medicated at night. All right. So, no excuses. No, I don't think he moved in fairly quickly, but he certainly stayed there most of the time. But he had a few drawers in Jen's room. I think the move-in happened, but maybe after Juan went to Puerto Rico. So he waited until the roommate moved out, and he waited until Juan moved out. And then the pictures started happening. The videos started happening, folks. Okay? As she moved out, he wasn't living there when she was. Jen was not working when she lived there. So the person that lived there paid rent. Juan paid for the apartment, and Stephan and Jen pretty much stayed home all day and hung out in the room most of the time. They weren't very active. They were overweight. And Stephan Stephan's a pig. He basically just groomed whoever he could. 866 people in chat. Please hit that like button. Yes, dark people bring dark energy. Sage that. Exactly. All right. Next question. Is there any other information that you saw as a roommate that might throw red flags? Maybe you said something to Jen and she ignored you. Okay. Don't get mad at me. Jen had a lot of mental health issues and mental health problems, and she was on a shitload of meds, guys, like bottles and bottles and bottles of meds. She went every week because she was, I don't know if they call that indigent or whatever, Medi-Cal. I don't know what they call that in there. Thank you so much for the super chat. There might be more in here. There's new members and a super chat. I appreciate you. There's 900 people in chat. Please hit that like button. I'll keep getting more information for you folks. All right. So Jen had lots of mental health problems with on a shitload of meds. She went every week to go get her meds. She went to a clinic. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, ADHD, depression, anxiety, and the list goes on. But she wasn't going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. It was one of those free places, the ones in Florida where you can just go get medication. It was one of those where you get free meds and they give you rounds. I told her I wasn't the biggest fan, but that's not my sorry, hit the microphone. That's not my relationship. And I asked if she really wanted someone who was basically a freeloader besides his mommy's money. She said he was looking for a job. Yeah, indigent. Yeah, there are free places in Florida. There's a lot of places that get busted in Florida because they give stuff out like that, people. So yeah, there is, and she did take her there. I promise. She told me she would give me the location, and I said, you don't need to do that right now. I'm not trying to get the location. I don't want people stalking people. So 970 people, 935 in chat, guys. Don't forget. State funded mental health care facilities, and she took like 15 different pills, guys. All right, last question, and my dog's yelling, but I'm not done. I'm going to play a video for you that says, is Jen going to be a witness or is she going to be charged? All right, next question, and then I can answer some. Oh, my dog's mad. All right, number 10. Here's the question I'd like to ask you now. Are you still friends with Jen? And did you find her to be a loving and attentive mother to Maddie? Maybe she really did miss all of it and the signs because she was working a lot. Maybe she was tired. Maybe she was taking too much medication. All right, here's the answer. And again, I'm not can I share? Please do share my live, folks. Yes, absolutely share my lives. Yeah, Stern might have been making money from Telegram. And hello, Victoria. Everybody hit that like button. We're at 975. So let me answer this last question and then I'll put that video and get my dog. He's yelling at me. Okay. She said no. Not really friends. She's not really friends with Jen. She's talked to her a couple times on Instagram. She said I would check in and see how her and Maddie were doing via Instagram. When I would see a photo every now and then, imagine the shock that happened when I saw her missing on Instagram. She was and is still heavily medicated. I have 1,007 people in chat, folks. Hit that like button, please. All right, then I'll get more people wanting to do interviews and coming on here. All right. The dog's like, Mama, I will say okay, God, don't get mad at me here. She says, I will say that she was a loving and attentive mom. When I was living there, she always took Maddie to school, or her grandpa did. And one of them always picked her up. So that's a telling sign, guys. That day, Stephan Sterns did it. She said she always did it. And I talked to her on the phone. No mistake here. They always did that. Okay. And quite possibly there were signs after I moved out. I don't think he did anything while I was there. And maybe because no one ever knew when I'd be home, he had more of an opportunity to get caught. But I don't think she did anything sinister. God, I hope not. I hope I'm right, she says. But that's not in her normal nature. From when I know her, she loved Maddie, that I do know. I don't know when Juan moved, but I would bet that Stephan Sterns waited for him to move out. He was retired and would go to the movies and walks and stuff. He probably let it all out after he left. Listen to this. The bedrooms were upstairs and they were all very, very close. Jen, Maddie, and I all had bedrooms upstairs, so I don't think he had the ability to do anything when there was always someone at home. And then she talks about chatting with me on the phone, which we did chat on the phone. So what do you guys think, guys? What do you think? I mean, let's reassure this roommate that it's not her fault. Please continue getting therapy. Yeah, there's 1,082 people in here, folks. So please hit that like button. I'm gonna I want to know if Maddie, if Jen is going to be a witness or if she's going to. Hold on. This came out this morning. I'm gonna finally get my face off here and I can try to answer questions as well. My dog is mad as heck. Hit the like button. Don't leave. We want to know if Maddie's mom's going to be a witness or a co-defendant. All right. She's not off the hook. And if I can convince the roommate to talk to the police department, answer any questions, I absolutely will. I hope she's watching tonight. I just talked to her. She was running errands. So listen to this.
Here on Closing Arguments, great to have you with us. And there was big breaking news yesterday. We're going to follow up now because we need to. It's the story of Madeline Soto. Madeline Soto just turned 13. Relatives hosted a party for her. Should have been an amazing day. Should have been an amazing day. When you're a child and you become a teenager, that is like a badge of honor. You wear it. You've been looking forward to it. I'm growing up. Because you know, when we're small, all we want to do is grow up. And this is step one. You become a teenager. But for Madeline Soto, that celebration was her last day on earth. Now, that's not her father there. Make no mistake, that's not her father. That's her mother. Not. But the man on the right side of the screen with the shades hiding his eyes, that's Stephan Sterns. He's the one who's been accused of her murder. He's the one who's been accused of sexually abusing her. He's the one accused of having all these images on his phone of himself abusing her. Hundreds of these images. And that was the monster that was in her life. Let's take a listen to the state attorney.
Today, we're announcing that Stephan Sterns has been indicted by the grand jury on first-degree murder for the killing of Madeline Soto. We presented the case to the grand jury. They returned an indictment earlier today. The death penalty in this case, we have not decided to what decision we're going to make in that case. We're going to.
All right, really quickly, I just want to let you guys know all of this stuff is allegedly because it is from a third party that's having me read the statement. So it's all allegedly. And some of the facts could be a bit off here and there. I was so heated reading this and listening to this and hearing this. So I'm always going to say allegedly. Even when I get a person to talk, it's allegedly. So don't shoot the messenger. I'm bringing you the information that I feel is important, and it's all alleged.
To continue those discussions going forward, and we'll let you know again when we make that decision as to whether we're going to see the death penalty in this case.
All right, so let's walk through again what happened and what we know and the questions that we have about the timeline here. And we begin with this birthday party. Again, it's her 13th birthday party. It's a Sunday. It's at a relative's home. She's posing for pictures. She's got a pretty dress on. They decorated the home a little bit. She's running around outside also, celebrating the day. The cake is right in front of her. Now, Stephan Sterns, the man accused of murdering her and sexually abusing her when Madeline was a missing child, here's what he said about the 13th birthday party.
She got a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together here, and she's just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl.
Oh, I don't know how happy she was. Telling her friends she wanted to go live in the woods when she was 13. She's been allegedly sexually abused since the age of 8. I don't know how happy she was. Now, here's Jen Soto, again, speaking to WFTV, talking about the last time that mom spoke to her daughter, Madeline.
What was the last thing, I guess, in the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
Now, remember, she allegedly has PTSD, anxiety, and she's on a ton of drugs, and as well as she smokes marijuana. So I don't know what she was on in this video, but she was on a lot of things. No excuses, but her behavior, that kind of says a bit. It's hard to read behavior when allegedly she's on all of like 15 different pills.
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working, but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it.
So mom says she told her good night, right? Okay, now let's go to after the party. So it's Sunday night now. The party is over.
Hit the like button,
What is Stephan
folks.
Sterns doing? Well, check out what Gray Hughes Investigates dug up. He's on the app Telegram.
By the way, Gray, if you're listening, please be nicer to people. I like using your content, but the person I talked to said they wouldn't talk to you because you're rude. I also went on your channel the other day and you were very rude to me. So I'm going to call you out whether you like me or not. Please stop being rude. Thank you.
11:49 p.m. that night, Telegram. This is an app that you use where you can communicate with people, but you don't know where they are. You can send things, everything's encrypted. It's very difficult to track things down, information that's exchanged, and groups start to form. And some groups form that do things that you're not allowed to do out in the open, like child predators, child pornography, things like that. Now, I want you to take a close listen to Shannon Butler from WFTV, investigative reporter. I've known her over 20 years. She knows everybody down in Orlando. What she told us last night about the time that Madeline was murdered. What time of day or night was it? Take a listen.
There is indication now that she possibly was killed right after her birthday party. So if you look at that, Vinny, that would have been Sunday night, not Monday morning. Sources have told me they believe at this point that she was killed possibly overnight. That would be Sunday night.
That changes everything. If those sources are correct, that changes everything here. If she's murdered after the party Sunday night, let's take a listen to the way, or a look at how Jen Soto, mom, and Stephan Sterns describe what happened the following morning, Monday morning after the Sunday night party. Here's what they say. We begin a WFTV report. Jen saw Madeline that morning. Documents show that the girl's mother told deputies February 26th that she saw her daughter getting dressed for school at 8 a.m. Monday. And then Sterns took her to school. Take a listen to more of Jen Soto speaking to WFTV.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. She was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it.
This is another mystery, is this so-called grainy video from the church parking lot. But This has her hanging out in the parking lot. Take a listen.
Now, I do want you to know, folks, that allegedly she gets off of work about 10 o'clock. So she allegedly was home. But if she took all of those pills that they say she took, then she was knocked out that night, and she repeated the story that Stephan told her to repeat, which is very likely she very much pined over him.
To what Stephan Sterns says about what happened when he dropped her off. Here he is speaking to WFTV.
I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking toward the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on, and that was it. But it was grainy footage and not much else.
Well, both of those can't be true. You can't be waiting in the parking lot and walking towards the school at the same time, right? He said she started walking towards the school. And he also said it was like any other day, like he always drops her off. Well, on February 28th, Madeline Soto's grandmother spoke to Telemundo 31 Orlando. And she confirmed Madeline was caught on camera, but also says Sterns dropping her off was unusual, not normal. Take a listen.
And the mom's right. I can verify that the roommate says that she never had him drop or pick up Maddie. It was always Juan or Jen. Always. So that particular day was very unusual. The grandma's spot on, and I believe that.
Pero mi hija trabajó la noche anterior, el domingo, y parece que se levantó muy cansada y le dijo al novio que se la trajera.
Claro, que no era parte de la rutina que el novio llevara frecuentemente.
No, siempre mi hija. Y en las cámaras de la iglesia ven que hay una niña con un suéter verde, donde ella se sienta en el parqueadero un rato, y unos minutos después se levanta y coge hacia la escuela. Hasta ahí se sabe de ella.
So that's their version of what happened that morning, right? That's what they were saying. That's what they told investigators. That's what they told the world and the community as they're searching for this little girl. Well, here's what law enforcement is saying about all this. Take a listen to what the Orange County Sheriff's Department had to say about some video they found near the dumpster in the subdivision complex, gated complex, where they live.
We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster.
7:35 at the dumpster.
What's the COD? Can I please re-show the COD? I'm going to have a members live in an hour, so I'm not sure what that is.
He at 8:10. Take a look. A license plate reader captured Stephan's vehicle with the Florida tag JYLL82 driving away from the school at 8:10. Driving away from the school at 8:10. Now, take a listen to what they see at 8:19, 9 minutes after he's driving away from the school.
Stephan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that.
I'll show the COD tonight on the members live, folks. I got to get through this so I can get my daughter and then come back.
Vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
Okay, let's try to break some of this down, put some of these pieces together, and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Let me bring in my special guest in Portland, Oregon, podcaster Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Gray, thanks so much for joining us again tonight. I want to start with that 11:49 telegram.
I'm fine with Gray Hughes. He brings good information, but just be nice, sir. You don't have to be rude.
From your perspective, what's the significance of that in light of what Shannon Butler's sources are telling her, that Madeline may have been murdered that night, not the following morning?
Well, you look at, you explained it well earlier about Telegram, and you look at that and you just think to yourself, if she died that night, what is he doing on there? And even if it was the next day, it's so close to that time, early in the morning, you wonder what he was doing. A lot of these predators take images of various events that, I don't want to, even a snuff film sometimes. I mean, it's actually very common. I mean, it's very sought after by some of these wackos. So, I mean, we don't know what he was filming and what he was doing on Telegram, but
well, this is Court TV. Court TV lets me use their content. They're okay with it. I don't know about snuffing me. I'll tell them myself. He was very rude to me the other night for no reason, but let's not take focus off of Maddie.
It's very ominous, the timing of it, when you just look at it. I don't know. I mean, I can't really see another reason why it'd be on there that late. And it's not even a really well-known app either, right?
It's not, but it's very hidden. We have 1,310 people in here. Hit the like button, guys.
I mean, we just kind of heard about it more recently, but predators have heard about it for a while. It's used for a lot of other things too, so I don't want to completely disparage the app altogether. But
it's like anything else. You have this great technology can be used for great things and very positive things, but it can also go in the other direction. And the people who go the other direction usually find it first, somehow, some way. And I think that's part of what has happened here. The videos, the one thing that we haven't heard from law enforcement, the one piece, are the videos of him leaving the complex. Right? They talk about him coming back at 8:19. They talk about him near the dumpster at 7:35, which is close to the back exit. But we don't hear about that. My guess is they probably have things, but just maybe haven't told us about it. But to me, that will put some more pieces together here of that morning.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely, people like us, we try to put the pins in order and the timing and map it all out. And what we're missing is at 7:35.
And this is where Jen, no alleged on this one, where she absolutely lies and tells a story that she's repeating of whatever Stephan told her, because she was there after, let's say, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and she couldn't have seen her in the morning if the cops seen her in the car already not alive. So this is where people get upset, and I think there's no grace given for that.
Did he come back to the complex to get the backpack and laptop and then put it in the dumpster and then go back out to where perhaps Madeline's body was, and then later he comes back with her? We don't know if he was actually stayed overnight at Jennifer's home. He could have been somewhere else, but he knew that he was supposed to take her to school, so therefore he needs to make it look like her backpack and laptop aren't at home, because she would have needed those to go to school. So he realizes, oh yeah, I'll go there early to the house and I'll pick those up and I'll just throw them in the dumpster because she's not even alive right now. But I need to take care of that portion, because if you took her to school, the question would be, well, how come the laptop and backpack are still sitting at her home? She would need that for school, So
you can almost see someone planning this out, right? Because okay, if the murder happens at night, now you have hours to try to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? How do we handle this situation? Whether it's him alone or whether or not Jen knows, we don't know. She hasn't been charged. She hasn't been named as a suspect. But you can see the planning here. All right, we're gonna make it look like she went to school, like I dropped her off at school. The other thing that's odd about it, though, are the hours that he chose, because school doesn't start till like 9:30. Why would you drop a child off an hour before?
I think he honestly, he was smoking marijuana that day. I think he tried to cover it up the best he could, just like he dumped her in an open field. I don't think he was thinking correctly. I think he did panic. It may have been premeditated before, but it definitely wasn't thought out after.
School. And maybe in his mind, he's thinking, if it's early, there's less people there, no one's going to see me. I don't know.
Yeah, they both said that he was called to pick her up, right? So that means he's somewhere else to go pick her up at home. So how does that fit in too, right? So that's why it makes it seem like, it almost feels like she stayed the night, Madeline, somewhere else with Stephan Sterns. This was just a theory. And then, it was like she was too tired. He goes, hey, how about I'll just take care of her tonight? And, they've known each other for 9 years, so she probably trusted him like that. And perhaps he groomed Madeline to not say anything about all the different times he assaulted her. I mean, he took over 400 photographs. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So maybe he drove over there that morning to get the laptop and backpack.
Now, this is a new episode that came out this morning, folks. This is not the same one, so I want you to know we're talking about if Jen Soto is going to be a co-defendant in the murder or if she's going to be a witness. There's 1,350 people. Hit the like so you can find my stuff again.
And came in and said, oh, she's, even if Jen had woke up, he could have just said, she's in the car, I'm just getting her backpack and notebook, right? Or, laptop, and then picks it up, throws it into the dumpster, and then retrieves her somewhere. But what's weird is, why does he bring her back again?
That's the strange one, right? At 8:19.
Now, the timeline is not off on my part, because the roommate that was living there said in 2018/19, that is 6 years ago, they were friends. So maybe she knew him before, but they started dating in 2018, 2019. So that gives you a really good idea. Thank you, Nikita. You guys are amazing tonight.
Police are very clear, or the sheriff is very clear that there's video coming back to the complex, and she appears to not be alive at that moment. So if you're near the school around 8:10 or so, or driving away from the school at 8:10, why are you coming back at 8:19? And if he comes back, he's got to leave again, right? So there should be video of that as well, because her body's not found at home. It's found like more than 20 miles away in St. Cloud.
Yep. And what did he have her in the car in the parking lot for 4 hours? Because then he drove away, and I think it was 1:20 when the witness saw his car on the side of the road.
No, I don't think he had her. I think she was at the house, and either Jen was just knocked out. And remember, there was only those three in the house. So if she was knocked out, then he had fair game on whatever he wanted to do, which seemed like that was most of the time.
Changing a tire. So where was she during that time? I mean, I don't think he would have dared at 8:19 to take her out of the vehicle and bring her into the house.
No.
That would be crazy, right? So you would think that she just sat in that car. Anybody maybe covered her with a blanket, but she was visible when she came in from a camera that law enforcement looked at. I mean, they could see her in there, and they don't believe she was alive in that image.
Unreal. Still putting the pieces together. Gray Hughes, great to have you on the program. Gray Hughes Investigates, live streaming on YouTube. Make sure you check it out, folks. Make sure you subscribe to it as well. So
make sure you have thick skin, because he will probably call you an idiot, folks.
You know when he's on the air doing stuff. Thanks so much, Gray.
Anything that you could do to help, I'm here for it. Just please, if you see my daughter, just please bring her home. I just hope you're okay, Maddie. I hope you're safe. I hope you're not hurt. I just hope she's okay.
She wasn't okay. She was found dead 20 miles away from their home.
Right.
She had been allegedly sexually abused since the age of 8 for 5 years by the man who's been accused of her murder, mom's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns. But how about mom? What is Jen Soto's story versus some of the evidence?
This is the question of the year, folks. Is she going to be a co-defendant or a witness? They clearly said in the clip, I actually didn't play it yet, that they're still investigating, even though it's a murder. So that leads me to believe absolutely they're still looking at her. I can play that after. It's 5 minutes.
That police have released so far in this case. Let's take a look at Jen's story. She said she spoke to Madeline after the party. That's Sunday night. Saw her getting dressed at 8 a.m. Monday morning. She said Madeline's grandmother said that Jen was too tired to drive and had Sterns drop her off around 8:40 a.m., about an hour before school. I don't know why you're dropping your child off that early, but now here's the evidence that police have in their timeline. Number one, they say she was never dropped off. There's no evidence of that. They have video of Stephan Sterns dumping the laptop and backpack in the dumpster in the back of the subdivision at 7:35 a.m. They have Sterns driving away from the school at 8:10 a.m. And then they have Sterns entering the subdivision on video with Madeline dead in the car at 8:19. What does this mean for mom? Because these facts are what they are. They are videos, okay? They are videos versus her story. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy. Also with us, retired judge, former prosecutor, judicial fellow at National Judicial College, Judge Gail Byers, and deputy public defender for LA County, Philip Dubé. Welcome to everyone. Thank you. Eklund, what about mom?
I'm triggered because as a criminal defense attorney and as a guardian ad litem, I want to say that Stephan Sterns is an anomaly, but he's not. 1 out of 5 girls and 1 out of 5 boys are victims of child molestation. And Madeline lived in terror for 5 whole years by the man who's supposed to take care of her. And we live in a world in which
And this is what everybody's saying. Despite all the pills, the drugs, the ADHD, the depression, my next live is going to be in 45 minutes at 6 o'clock, and you are a member, so come back. Members only.
Human sex trafficking is a $150 billion business, and there's no supply without a demand. This man was able to terrorize this girl for years. So it's going to be hard to really see how she didn't know and how she wasn't aware of her child being terrorized by this man. I'm triggered, so I don't know how they're going to get a jury that'll be able to really sit in this particular case. I don't do child molestation cases anymore because of this fact, but most importantly, it is really hard to get a jury because of just how heinous the crime is.
Yeah, and it looks here you're going to have two different trials. You're going to have the sex abuse trial for all those images found on the phone, and then you're going to.
Nothing's been released. There was a leak that came to me that says it was blunt force trauma. That's all I'm going to say. It's alleged blunt force trauma. You guys take what you will with that and wait until court comes.
Have a potential, they haven't decided yet, capital murder trial with the potential of perhaps the death penalty to follow. Judge Gail Byers, what do you think about mom's story versus the evidence that police have and what that means for how this case is going to develop here? Because investigators told us yesterday, prosecutors told us yesterday, the investigation is still open.
And Vinny, I can completely understand why the investigation is still open. There may be some question as to mom's culpability and her knowledge and even her potential involvement. Even if you accept the idea or the fact that, police are humans and they make mistakes and, they don't always get it right in their reporting. What seems to be clear here is that there's actual corroborating evidence or information to buttress the timeline that they put together. So they got video evidence and they have, other things that are time-stamped that don't involve human manipulation, at least as far as we know. That means that all of that evidence and information is being placed up against mom's memory or her alleged memory of the night before. And none of it seems to align, right? So you can't have it both ways. You can't, see your kid getting dressed at 8 a.m. and there's clear indications that your boyfriend is dumping her backpack and laptop almost a half hour before. There's no way that you can believe that this child was dropped off at school at 8:40 when 20 minutes or 30 minutes prior, there's video that shows her body at least in a vehicle and she does not seem to be alive. Those two can't coexist at the same time. And so either mom's going to potentially revisit her memory or she's either going to be a cooperating witness or perhaps a co-defendant.
There you go.
Dubé, I
absolutely, folks. She has to be a witness. Otherwise, she's going to be a co-defendant. They did say that they haven't finished with the investigation, which means she can absolutely be charged. And it could just be for, I don't know the legal terms. It could be an accessory. It could be tampering with evidence and she did not tell the right story. We don't know, but this is where we are right now.
She hasn't made a statement since the arrest of Stephan Sterns. She hasn't made a statement since her daughter's remains were found. And you have a right to privacy. You don't have to say anything. So we don't know what her position is as to Stephan Sterns, the accused murderer of her daughter and the one who had all these images on his phone that became the subject of that first case and that first indictment, more than 400 images. So I don't know what she thinks about Stephan Sterns at this point. I know when they were missing, they were like comforting each other, like on camera. Yep. You could see all that. Yep. But I don't know if things changed.
I have a feeling that mom has lawyered up and counsel has told her to shut up and not say a word to anybody, let alone the police and the media. I have a feeling that the coroner has enlisted the help of a forensic entomologist. What's going to really matter in this case is the exact date and time of death. A forensic entomologist can pretty much pinpoint almost down to the hour when that child died based on insect activity found on her remains in the woods where her body was recovered. They'll be able to tell almost down to the hour. And that is significant because remember what mom said. She said she saw Madeline getting ready that morning and that Stephan picked her up and, that whole thing. If they can show based on the forensics and based on the insect life on that child that she was already deceased, then I have a feeling mom is going to be in a lot of trouble. She will no longer just be a lead, but she may be even beyond a person of interest and possibly a suspect. I'm with Eklund. I cannot believe that mom did not see behavioral changes in a child of that age to suggest that, everything was just fine in the house. I'd like to know what type of attitude she had at home, how she was performing in school, whether or not she had friends, whether or not she was isolated. Those are the classic symptoms of somebody who is being abused. And given the age difference between Stephan and the child, I have a feeling he was what's called a herbophile, which is basically going after sort of post-pubescent children with a wide age gap between the victim and the offender. But we'll see. It's a little
Now, I want to answer that. Maddie could have been drugged in the car and then unalived at the location. If there was that many drugs and bottles laying around, there's a good possibility she was slipped things many times. Okay, so that kind of abuse hurts. It's not something that you can get used to, not at my age and not at her age. So there's a good possibility toxicology is going to find something.
Premature, but they've got him on all the sex charges. He ain't ever getting out on those.
No, you're not. He is not. He is.
Breaking news at 6.
All right, so I don't think I played that at the beginning. Did I? Oh, let me go back real quick. I'm going to show you guys something, and then we will be out because I got to come back on. This talks about, hold on 1 second. I want to show you. Let me stop sharing it. I have something here that talks about what's next, and I don't think I played that because I got right into it. So it talks about the mom possibly. Hold on, let's see. This is this is. All right, so I'll play it again. If I played it, it just says that the investigation in the death of her is not done.
At 6, the prime suspect in the death of this teenage girl has now been indicted for first-degree murder.
The indictment signifies a crucial step forward in our quest for justice.
But investigators say the case is far from closed. A grand jury indicted Stephan Sterns for first-degree.
The investigation is far from closed. They just haven't charged anyone else yet. We don't know what the witness list is. We don't know. Jen's going to be on it. Believe me. There's no way she can get around it when there was only 3 people in that house and she gave them the story that she did. It's clear as day.
Murder today. Good evening. I'm Greg Warman.
And good evening. I'm Martha Sigalski, the state attorney and Kissimmee police chief, making that announcement just after 4 this afternoon. Stearns was first arrested in February on sexual battery and possession of child pornography charges. He has been behind bars ever since. Channel 9's Daryl Matthews joining us live outside the Osceola County Courthouse. And Daryl, what could detectives reveal about the investigation today?
Martha, very little besides his new murder charge, but they do say there's still a lot to get through in this investigation, and they decided to tell us about this charge just to bring some.
Now I have 1,400 people in here, Rosie. I'm sorry I can't answer everybody's questions, but we don't know if she was pregnant or not. We have no idea at this point. I'm sorry. If you do a super chat, sometimes I can see it, but not always with this many people. So I apologize.
Closure to the family and the rest of the community.
Today, the Kissimmee Police Chief and myself are here to provide an update on the death investigation on 13-year-old Madeline Soto.
A new charge in the murder case of 13-year-old Madeline Soto.
The Kissimmee Police Department and my office have been working closely to go over every piece of evidence that we could gather in this case.
Wednesday, the grand jury came down with an indictment of first-degree capital murder for Stephan Sterns for the killing of Madeline Soto back in February. Madeline was reported missing by her mother after she never made it to school. Sterns spoke exclusively to Eyewitness News and law enforcement that he dropped her off for school the day after she celebrated her 13th birthday.
The evidence shows an individual that was entrusted to keep Madeline safe made calculated moves to dispose Madeline's belongings and place her body in a wooded area before she was ever reported missing.
The state attorney's office says the indictment was based on Sterns' calculated moves to hide her body in St. Cloud. Court records release state Madeline was murdered on or between February 25th and the 27th. Her body was discovered March 1st in a wooded area in St. Cloud. Now, when asked about the death penalty, the state attorney Andrew Baines says that decision will come at a later date. As far as the charges for murder, Sterns' arraignment is set for April 29th at 1:30, and the charges for those child sex crimes are still July 10th. We're live in Osceola County. Daryl Matthews, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And only Channel 9 sat down with Stephan Sterns and Madeline's mother, Jennifer Soto, just a day after that teen was reported missing.
There she is. A lot of people are asking about that video and how she's consoling him. Allison or Alyssa, you are a member. So yes, you'll be able to get in the members only. And you know what? It's alleged blunt force. I could be completely wrong. My source could be completely wrong. I'm just trying to let you guys know what I know. And that's it. So don't shoot the messenger. We have no idea what blood they found where. We know nothing about this. All right. So they said blunt force with a rock or a bat, which is really specific. We don't know about the blood.
In that interview, Sterns pleaded for help to find Madeline.
We don't know where she could be, and we're scared. We just want her home.
Stearns was arrested just a short time later for sexual battery charges and named the prime suspect in that little girl's disappearance.
And then earlier this month, only Channel 9 sat down with Madeline Soto's biological father. It was his first interview since his daughter's murder. Channel 9 Shannon Butler joins us live in studio tonight. And Shannon, you spoke with Maddie's dad again today, and what did he have to say about
Tyler
the grand
Wallace
jury?
has been informed by his attorney that those murder charges have been filed. He has not yet decided if he will make a statement. We are told he is still trying to process all of.
There's another portion of this now that you haven't seen, folks, that we only got a couple of minutes. And I just bought an equalizer, everybody. Check this out. And it was working great until the live started. It's not working. I wish somebody was a audio person that could come help me, but it's amazing. It catches everything. So hopefully I can get this for my next live. Maybe not tonight, but I know this sounds low. I can't do anything. So just listen.
This new news. Tyler Wallace told me when we sat down earlier this month that he was trying to be patient as he waited for more answers. What is the number one question you still want answered?
I'm just waiting for more information to come out. I'm not really comfortable posing where my questions are right now. I have a list a mile long of questions, but I'm satisfied with the answers I've been given from official sources, and I'm just trying to give this investigation time to do this the right way. I don't want to rush anybody. I want evidence to be analyzed. I want to know the truth.
But today, a big piece of the puzzle has been solved. Wallace found out late this afternoon that the man also charged with sexual battery and having dozens of explicit videos of his daughter is also now accused of her murder. In an interview with WFTV, both Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto told us that Maddie was dropped off at school but never made it. Wallace said he got the same information from Maddie's mother that day. What did she say to you? Maddie's missing?
Yes, she said that Maddie had been missing since the morning of, and that the school had just contacted them, and that she was hoping that it wasn't serious, but that we don't know.
Did she say that someone had dropped her off at school?
She said that Stephan had taken her to school in the morning and dropped her off, yeah, and that she had never made it to the school.
So what about Jen Soto here? What, if anything, did she know? We asked the state attorney that question today, but they would not answer. Most of the answers to our questions were it is still under investigation, Greg.
They also kept passing it off to one another. They're trying to avoid the question, but they did not say that Jennifer Soto was cleared. And if you heard my interview at the beginning with myself, it wasn't with myself, it was with the roommate. Now you know why, that they're not going to just rule her out, especially with all the drugs around the house and all the clouded things going on.
All right, Shannon, great work with those interviews. And we'll continue to follow the story as the cases against Stephan Sterns move forward. Again, there's a couple of cases here. Both could lead to the death penalty. You can read all of our previous reporting and watch part of our exclusive interview with Maddie Soto's father. It is on our website right now.
They should release all of it.
August 13th,
Why aren't they releasing all of it, guys? I don't know. I want all of it. All right, folks. I have 1,352 people in chat. I know you guys are starting to get on with your day. I appreciate every single one of you. And if you want to see more of my stuff, it will come up in the algorithm for you. If you just hit the like, I don't need you to join memberships. A lot of you asking about memberships, you're already a member, folks. You got that little membership, the icon next to you. So please hit the like. So you, even if you're not a member, you can still watch my content. I come out 3, 4, 5 times a week, and it's all for free. So I'm just here to do the best I can and give you the information that I allegedly know. Don't shoot the messenger, but I did vet this roommate. I know it's true. Her perspective is true. What she said, maybe her perspective is different than yours or anybody else's, but I guarantee you that she saw a lot of things being in that household, and what she said matched dead on with what's going on. So Karen just gifted 5 memberships. That means you guys are going to be able to come to the members only tonight. If you're not a member now, you're going to get one. We don't have to still keep going for it to go, or for you to get it. Welcome to the crew. Very kind folks in here, Bobby. There are a lot of people that just got a membership right now. So I love each and every one of you. I'm going to play the outro. Stay on here so you can get a membership and come back at 6 o'clock. Hopefully I'll make it right at 6. I love you all, every one of you. This channel is nothing but love and nothing but trying to advocate for the victim. I'm not an advocate, but I am going to be the voice for these victims that no longer have a voice, no matter what case. On that note, I think the next case I will be doing is Sadie. I believe it's Sadie Robinson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chad Doerman won so far, but I have already done 2 videos, folks, and there's only like 87 views. So go back, watch Chad Doerman. He's under the Family Annihilator playlist. I'll put it for just Chad. Go watch that. If you want me to do more, you got to watch the first videos, and then I'll come back and do Sadie. We'll start that in between Sebastian, Elijah, and Maddie. Okay? Watch that outro, folks. On that note, I'll see you soon.
Guilty of crime. I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?